There's so much noise out there for what is an actual realistic price for Bitcoin to reach this market cycle. Everywhere you look across the news, social media, you're going to see all these outlandish expectations for Bitcoin, and it makes it hard as the average person to know what the hell is going on and what is actually realistic. It's easy to buy in the hopium, it's easy to buy into the dream, but it leaves you and others with all of your profits vanished because you had some outlandish expectation and Bitcoin never reached it, and you got caught with the bag and you're holding on for dear life. If you've been in crypto for years, you know the feeling, and you've probably been looking all over the internet for just somebody reasonable and some realistic expectation based on actual logic instead of some hopium or some dream. Well, you came to the right place, because today I want to give you my insider chart. My insider chart helps to keep me level-headed because it works like magic. Take a look. You see, in 2013, the Bitcoin price, the highest that we went, actually went above this red line. You see, in 2017, it actually went right to the red line. In other words, it stair-stepped down one. Instead of going way above the red line, it just went to the red line. And then in 2021, it took one stair down again. It didn't go way above the red line. It didn't go to the red line this time. It took one stair down and went to the green line. And now here we are. If Bitcoin took one more stair down, it would top out at the orange line, which could be a realistic price for Bitcoin to go to. Now keep in mind, we're not at the orange line now, and we're not close to it. So what is the orange line at? And what are the chances that we do something crazy and we go to the green line? What does that put Bitcoin at? And would that be realistic? And then in our most wildest prediction, what if we went to the red line like we've done 2 other times? What would that put price at? And would that be realistic? In today's video, that's precisely what we're going to dig into. Let's get into it.
Welcome, I'm Steve. Here we deliver honest, sponsorship-free TA with genuine value. Subscribe for a no BS approach that actually helps you. Subscribe.
So here we are, Bitcoin US dollar index, and today we're on the monthly chart. Now on our screen, we have my custom indicator. It's based on Fibonacci sequence and moving averages. It's custom, so you won't be able to get it, but that's not the important part. The important part is I have this chart and I'm going to share it with you today. And we're going to look at, really hone in on that orange line. And is that realistic? And what about the green line? Could that be realistic? And what if we somehow did something crazy like we did in 2013 and 17 and we went to the red line? What is that price at? So when you look at it, you can see that this chart is incredible for the bottoms as well, because that purple line marked the absolute best buying opportunity in every single bottom of the market. 2013, the bottom was at the purple line. 2017, the bottom was at the purple line. And even the COVID crash went right down to the purple line. And even the 2021, with all these extra curveballs and all the craziness that happened, it went exactly to the purple line. So you got to love charts like this that just keep it simple. When everything's crashing and you're like, oh my God, is the world over? Hold tight. We're going to go to the purple line. And by the way, what's the purple line at right now? The purple line is at 36,000. The good news is that when you follow the purple line, it actually rises as we make our all-time high. So that $36,000 Bitcoin, we may never see that ever again, because expect that purple line to rise before we fall to it. So now let's get to the top of the lines. You can see in 2013, we had our first huge pump in price action. And what happened? It went to the red line and was met with resistance. Yes, we wicked through, but then we had a nice consolidation point. All those lines were moving higher because they are also based on moving averages. And that's when we had that second pump through the red line. 2017, we had an incredibly strong performance as well, but we took one stair down where we didn't pile through the red line and go way higher. We literally topped out exactly at the red line. And you can see it, case in point, right here.
No hype, just facts. Subscribe and relax.
Now keep in mind, this indicator is based on the Fibonacci sequence and moving averages, and all of these colors represent support and resistance in key zones. For example, that purple zone is always the bottom, and that orange green and red zone. That's always the top. And those are the colors that we want to pay attention to. So as we went into 2021, that was our weakest cycle ever. And Bitcoin literally took one stair down. Instead of topping out right at the red line, we took one stair down and topped right at the green line. Now, keep in mind, when we're topping at these lines, it wasn't like, we sort of reached the line or we kind of were there, or these are exact pinpoint accurate lines, which is really fascinating. Same with the bottoms of the market. If you just bought at the purple line, you would look like a superhero, quite literally. And by the way, shout out to all of my students who have my indicator bundle. This is one of the stars in the indicator bundle. And here we are. When you look at this cycle, 2025, and compare it to other cycles, you can see that we had, since our bottom, we had that big first jump up to about 70,000. That's noticeable. And from 70,000, we just kind of been climbing the mountain quite methodically and slowly climbing up, whereas other cycles was really fast. The simplest way to understand it is that fast moves don't last long, and methodical, slow climbs last a long time. That's the key difference. Case in point right here. When in 2020, we ran up from 10K to 70K, it was really fast, and that's as fast as we went back down, right? So just keep in mind that this slow, methodical move that we've been on since March 24, that's a good sign. Now, as we go through it, you can see that we were met with some resistance at this white line and sort of held it as support and held it as resistance. It's sort of been, since that climb from 70K, that white line has been the key area for us to really deal with. Now, let's get to the juicy stuff.
No hype, just facts. Subscribe and relax.
If Bitcoin were to have one stair down, like we've done so far, 2013, top of the stairs. 2017, we took one stair down to the red line. 2021, we took one more stair down to the green line. So in 2025, if we were to take one more stair down, that would bring us to the orange line. I want to unveil what the orange line price would be at. And more importantly, I want to give my opinion of, will this be a realistic price for Bitcoin? So given our market structure and given what's happening, if Bitcoin were to have another sizable pump, the only area of resistance for us is that orange line. It's inevitable, right? So we have to first look at this orange line, and then would it be realistic? Yes. If there is a pump, that's our next level of resistance, plain and simple. So what is this orange line? Now, before I unveil the price, I do want to say something very interesting. These are based on moving averages. So let's hypothetically say if I snap my fingers right now, Bitcoin starts a really big pump. That moving average that I'm about to explain what the price is, that price will rise because these are moving averages. Look at any time we had a big pump, you can see those lines start to rise. So the price that I'm actually going to tell you is actually a very, very, very low end guess at a realistic price for the orange line, given the fact that if Bitcoin just pumped at the snap of my fingers, the orange line would slowly start to climb up in price. So let's look at the orange line. Right now, we're at a price of roughly $200,000 Bitcoin. So in other words, if Bitcoin has a nice sizable pump, that is a realistic expectation for Bitcoin as our next level of resistance. And keep in mind, that price will climb a little bit as price rises. Now, let's talk about the green line and the red line and what is the most realistic out of these. Right now, the green line is at roughly $360,000 Bitcoin. Our red line, keep in mind, we've gone to the red line twice in 13 and 17. So it's not out of the question. One way to look at this is Bitcoin has stepped down the stair one time. Another way to look at this with the same data, we could say factually that 66% of the time Bitcoin has gone to the red line and only 33% of the time it hasn't. So what's the red line price at right now? And keep in mind, this rises as we go up, but we're looking at $700,000 Bitcoin. So can we say that it's not an option for Bitcoin to go to 700K? Can we say that there's no chance of Bitcoin going to 700K? No. Quite literally, we've gone there 66% of the time. But what's more realistic? Are we talking about a more realistic chance of Bitcoin going to 700,000 or 360 or 200K? I would say a more realistic expectation for Bitcoin is to go to roughly $200-ish thousand Bitcoin. Given the fact that this orange line will rise when price rises, it won't be 200K, maybe it'll be 220, 225, something like that when we get there. But that is a realistic expectation based on actual data, the Fibonacci sequence, and all of the facts in the charts. Let me know what your price prediction is, and we'll come back to this video and see who was right in the comments. Trade like a tourist or go with the pros. The FFA is where the real ones go. Link in description.